partner. Taught me everything I know. He's pretty much the only family that I got. He's not much with his fists, but he's pretty good with his mouth.
We got the money. We always do.
Under attack! You good, kid?
Do what you do best.
Run, kid! Run!
Bring me the thief.
If she's sending, I think she's sending.
Don't make me chase you.
I don't care about the cash. It's my partner.
Drive, kid!
So what's the plan? The plan is to rescue my partner.
Old friend of mine used to say, get fast, get gone. Means never linger on a job. Otherwise, you're begging to get your ticket punched. Well, you lingered too long on this one, partner.
Let's have some fun.
Come with the money, make this easy on everybody. I suggest you save any tricks.
What's he gonna be? He's finishing the job, kid!
Fair warning, Hoss. We will show up well prepared.
Me too.
Hold on, kid!
Is that Bloodsport?
Yes. So I got blood. Yeah, it's one of those 10 ones. Yes, and I got Commando. I got Punisher. Yeah, I got the whole deal going.
I love it. Fantastic. I'm in good company.
I'm so excited to talk to you because I'm a fan. The first time I was able to get to know you or yourself as a filmmaker and a star was Bulletproof, which we're talking about Get Fast is a sequel to Bulletproof, which is kind of cool because you don't have to see you don't have to see Bulletproof to enjoy Get Fast, but it's still a sequel. So talk about, first of all, the thief, the man with no name, that type of character, that action hero. You know, we don't know where he comes from, we don't know what he does, that type of thing. Talk about developing him as a character for yourself.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I hit the nail right. You hit the nail right on the head. Where it's a takeoff of the man with no name, which is an archetype that works so well. I mean, Clint Eastwood did it the best.
Yeah.
No one will ever touch it any better than him, right? But I really wanted to make a really fun film that was really propulsive and nonstop. You know, go figure, get Bulletproof, get fast. And in so doing, I wanted to have a protagonist that had a lot of mystery, so that the audience could put more of themselves into that character and kind of feel a little bit more first person in the experience, you know, and whether or not, you know, it's a taste thing as well, you know, whether or not that's successful or not to a certain extent. I thought that it was an appropriate choice for these type of films, especially, you know, as you referenced, like, you don't need to see Bulletproof to enjoy Get Fast, because these are serialized films, much in the way of, like, you know, when you hear George Lucas talk about what inspired, you know, Indiana Jones or Star Wars, it's those, you know, those serialized pulps, like short little snippets of action movies from back in the day. That's really what they're supposed to be.
Right. Now, before we get back into Get Fast, let's talk about you getting into the industry, because, like, you know, Play by Play Entertainment, the company you founded. Talk about all that. Did you always want to be an actor? Or were you just like, screw it, I want to do everything? You know what I'm like?
You know, it's one of those things where I just absolutely love film, right? So I was on an interview a couple of days ago with Lou, and I was telling about, you know, me wanting to actually be doing it professionally. Like, I've been an actor since I was a kid, and a performer and a singer. But when I saw X-Men in theaters when I was 16, and I saw, you know, the ending where, you know, Hugh Jackman thinks Rogue is dead and they're on the Statue of Liberty, I thought, oh my God, this is like the most amazing moment. And it's in an action movie. It's in an adventure film, which I love. So I knew right away I had to start pursuing acting on a professional level. And so that just evolved over time to, being curious about all the different facets, behind the camera as crew. And then when I was about 29, I realized, well, all the actors that I admire created their own films. They weren't only being an instrument to tell other people's stories, but they were telling their own stories.
Mhm.
And so I started producing film, and then people wanted me to direct, and I finally made the choice to direct with Bulletproof.
Now, I've talked to many filmmakers who act and direct it. And how hard, you tell me from your perspective, how hard is it to, like, you're starring in it, you're the lead, you're directing it, how hard is it on a daily basis to basically hold the mantle for everything?
It's a lot of work. There's no joke about that. I mean, it really comes down to the homework and the prep. So going into Bulletproof and Get Fast, I certainly, every shot was planned. Even the edit was planned. I knew exactly how everything was going to be cut. So, like Get Fast, the edit was, I mean, we pretty much had a done edit in 3 months' time. And that's not including vis effects and sound and all of that. But we knew exactly what was going to happen. And it basically just cut like butter. Now, in terms of like being able to, perform, being prepped like that allows, me to be able to relax enough to perform. But also too, I think if I was doing, There Will Be Blood and I had to play Daniel Plainview, I think directing and acting would be a tall order. The Thief, there's, that kind of Bruce Willis, John McClane nonchalant kind of thing, which, you know, I think is easier to play as opposed to completely transforming yourself into a character. So I think if that was to happen, I might second guess myself and maybe put a little bit more respect into just acting and finding a very good director to kind of take that spot.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about Get Fast. Okay, now I loved Bulletproof. Okay, I'm a fan of that one. But then as soon as this movie opens up, Dare from Stan Bush starts playing, and I was just like, I'm a product of the '80s, man. I was like, of all the songs you could have picked, I was just like, I love this movie already. It just started like 2 seconds ago. So you're a Transformers fan, are you not? You have to be if you picked that movie.
100% a
Yeah,
Transformers fan.
yeah.
I mean, that song, like I love that movie.
It's like
And
the theme song of the movie. It's like
it
it plays
is.
throughout the whole. Like when an action sequence off,
Oh, yeah.
it got me pumped up every single time.
Well, I'm really glad about that. I mean, it was really at the script phase, I was thinking about that song because I wanted to capture something that had the adventure and the innocence that I felt was one of the core aspects of the movie. And
Absolutely.
so every time it came on, and then when I was investigating about whether it was realistic to get it, and it was, I got a chance to correspond, with Stan Bush and Vince DiCola, and it's like it was wild. So it's like I've corresponded with them, and it is kind of like it's a childhood dream come true because I mean they did "You Got the Touch" as well, which is another
Yes, of
iconic
course.
iconic
Yes,
song from the 80s,
yes. So let's okay. So the movie is a total like again, 80s and 90s. I'm a product. This is a total. I mean, it starts off from the get go, action and like I know you're on a budget. I get it, because you're making, you're not Disney, right? Nobody's Disney, right? So it's like, but this has got like a Mad Max filter, especially the end with the chase. You got you in the back of a truck with a 50 caliber machine gun. Nushi shooting an M60 from how you're like, okay, this is how much money I have, and let me just throw the kitchen sink into it. Is that like
you know.
basically what you do?
Well, it comes down to prepping. Like I said before, like, okay, so we had to work with a budget. So we have limited amount of time as well, limited money, limited time. So, you know, really, really taking months to think, well, what are the essential elements in terms of shots that are needed? And that's only what we're going to go and capture and being like really confident in that. And you are correct about the Mad Max feel. I mean, who hasn't been influenced by George Miller and also
Right.
that practical feel that you get from, even the original one, like with Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior and that, which is
Even
awesome.
your shots in the finale, it gave me that feel. I expected Mel Gibson to jump out onto the screen somewhere and join you or something. It was
Oh, we
awesome,
could only be so lucky, right? You
right?
never know, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
yeah, I mean, I think my influences would be like George Miller and Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg, all those guys that we grew up with. I think something happened through osmosis. But also too, being on a budget, it comes down to your collaborators. So, the production company that I collaborated with, Peacemaker Filmworks, they're some of the top stunt technicians and stunt people in the world. Like, no joke. Like, if you look them up, they've done so many large studio features like the Deadpool movies, Sonic, RoboCop, Ghostbusters, and Ryan Ennis, who's the owner of that company. I mean, that the movie wouldn't happen if I wasn't able to be able to tap into the innovations that would be available to people who had a lot of money.
Hmm.
We were able to tap into them, at a budget, and that's a lot of the magic as well too.
Well, I like how you kept it as practical as you could, I mean, of course there's some CG, like, with the bullets hitting and stuff like that, but it's like for the most part it was choppers, it was car. I mean, you kept it practical,
Yeah.
and again, that's I miss that, like when you watch some of these bigger budgeted movies, it's like you want it old school. Like when you watch like Lethal Weapon, it's like, that's how they used to do it, type of thing.
Well, you feel it goes back to, talking about the thief character wanting it to be more immediate, wanting to do things as practical as possible. I mean, yeah, it's a function of being on a budget, of course. It is a function of that. But at the same time, you also get a chance to keep it as real as possible so you can have as real as an experience, which is another
Absolutely.
reason why I want to do as many of the physical stunts as I could. Like it's me on the helicopter, it's me getting hit by the ice cream truck. I can't ride a motorcycle too well, so that had to be, there was some trickery done with that, of course,
No
right?
worries. Yeah.
But for the most part, we definitely don't want to dispel the illusion in any way.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about your like you got Vinnie Jones for Bulletproof, and now you got Lou Diamond Phillips. Talk about Lou Diamond. I love his character. Now, was the Cowboy, was that kind of an homage to Young Guns? Like where you're just like, hey, I'm gonna make you a cowboy. It's like,
No, you know what? I didn't think of it as an homage
okay.
to Young Guns in any way, although, Lou was in mind for that part from the start because,
I was gonna
we
ask
really.
you, did you have yeah, did you were like Lou Diamond Phillips?
Yeah, because when you're doing a character like that, you need someone who's a great actor, but you also need someone who's decent. You need someone that is a good person so that there's a level to the character and they bring a humanity to it, which I think is why the character works so well in the film. I think if you brought someone else and they just played it more as a killer and they were just twirling their mustache, I think the movie would have fallen flat. And also, we wanted to have a character that was distinctly different from Vinny because Vinny, I always joked around with him, being a Transformers fan. I always told him, and he didn't really get it when I said this to him, but I was like, you're like Megatron from Transformers. That's who you are, right, Vinny? And he didn't know what I was talking about,
Right.
right? And he's a real sweetheart, Vinny Jones. He's a tough guy, but he's a sweetheart as well. But no, I just really wanted to push the Western vibe from the
Mhm.
inspirations of the Man with No Name, like Sergio Leone films. Want to
Absolutely.
infuse
Yep.
a little bit more of that. So the cowboy, that was a character that just was, kind of naturally came.
That, now wrap it up because I only have you for like a minute more or so. Is there more plans for the thief? I mean, obviously, not to spoil it or anything, he's still alive, so he's still kicking. So,
Yeah, I would love to do another one. I mean, we have a story on paper, so it's going to come down to, how the next, few weeks go and how the film's received. But I would jump at the chance to make another one of these. It's so much fun, and the people that I'm working with, it's like working with family. And I know it sounds corny, but it's true. It's the same team I worked with on both films, and it's such a delight.
well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm going
Thank
to do
you.
my best to promote the movie. Like I said, for fans of throwback style action, yeah, like I said, it's got everything in the kitchen sink. It's got you with a 50 caliber machine gun, and the part with the rocket launcher was the best too at the beginning. That
Oh,
that
thank
was
you.
real quick. Can you just talk about that idea, like shooting it backwards and then like it blows up the
Oh
car behind
yeah,
it, real
well, I
quick?
mean, you got to have a little bit of physical comedy, right?
Yes.
And I always wanted to do a rocket launcher scene like that. And interestingly enough, not to give anything away, but when people initially read the script, they said, "Well, that's too cartoony." And I actually told them, I said, "If you do the research, I talked to an army vet. That is really what would happen at that distance with that type of rocket launcher, because the armament doesn't arm until a certain amount of feet."
Yes.
So, so a lot of people, they laughed about it and they were like, "That's real." And I said, "Yes." That is one of the most real things that happens in the movie. So I'm glad you liked it, because that's one of my favorite parts too.
Well, James, like I said, great job with the movie. I was so excited to see that that was you playing the thief from Bulletproof, and I can't wait
Thank
for
you.
people to see it. Hopefully, they enjoyed it as much as I did, and hopefully, you get the opportunity to, well, not just the thief, but do other things in the future, so we can talk again.
Well, I really appreciate that. I'd love to talk to you again. The best to all of you and all your endeavors.
I thank you, sir, and you have a great day and enjoy the success of the movie when it comes out in a few days. Okay.
Well, thank you. All right,
All
take
right.
care.
All right.
See
Bye
ya.
Thanks,
bye.
John.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.